So Winter Siege comes to a close within World War II starting tomorrow, and it's something that I was just, as of recently, thinking, what is Call of Duty World War II gonna be like here jumping back into it? Now, that might sound kind of stupid because, of course, we have just the standard game that we've known of for almost 2 months now at this point, so it's not gonna be like something where it completely changes the face of it, but thinking about it in the sense of the last 4 weeks, we've had a steady stream of content given to us and different sorts of challenges that we can go for and all kinds of stuff. Going back to the norm is kind of something that might seem a little bit strange at this point, but it's going to happen, so I was just kind of mentally gathering myself to going back to something that might seem to some monotonous, and that's something that maybe not everybody might be looking forward to. So I was kind of thinking to myself, when's the next time we could see something happen here within World War II? And yes, DLC 1 is on the horizon. We have that coming out on PlayStation 4 on January 30th, with about some of the probably pre-reveal hype leading up about probably a week before that, if the marketing strategy is the same as past years within Call of Duty. But that said, these next couple of weeks, is there anything that could actually be coming to maybe keep the game fresh and upbeat in a sense? And that's something that got me thinking about something we learned about way back now at this point. It was just right after the launch of World War II, and that's something in which people are still kind of trying to figure out what this secret camo would be for that max tier camo like we've had with Black Sky, Dark Matter, and Exclusion Zone within Infinite Warfare, Black Ops 3, and Modern Warfare Remastered respectively. And a lot of people were getting close to it, so they were trying to think about it. It came out later that that was bugged, so it would not actually allow the camo itself to be unlocked. But while people were kind of waiting around seeing what would happen, there were 10 camos within the game code, or 11 because Chrome was included in this, that were data mined and that were revealed to be within the game but not accessible to anybody. And it really brought up the question, how would these be coming? And so as of recently, just thinking about it, how will these be coming and when will they be coming? So I want to talk to you guys today about the 10 camos that we've still yet to see, and maybe others potentially coming, and when and how they could be coming to the game. So that said, once again, recapping a little bit about this because I talked about it. I had a video up for probably about a half hour, and then I ended up taking it down at this point because it was something that was subject to copyright. After having it up at that point in time, my paranoia got the best of me, so I just took it down just to be safe. So I'm not going to put anything on screen for you guys to check out, but I can leave links down in the description below if you guys want to check it out, open it up in another browser, and listen to this in the background while you examine them for yourselves. But nonetheless, there were 10 camos, excluding Chrome camo. Once again, that would have been the 11th, but those were Chrome Tiger, Copper Giraffe, Diamond Weave, Fire Skulls, Gold Leopard, Leopard, Mop, Rattlesnake, Skulls, and a camo called Camo_Loot_02. Now, once again, surprisingly, we have not seen any of these just yet because Black Ops 3, Infinite Warfare, Modern Warfare Remastered, all of those launched with camos and supply drops. You had your base camos in which you could end up doing headshot and weapon challenges for to unlock those through your progression, but then you also had these ones in a sort of third manner in which you could have a little bit of extra stuff to add on to your classifications. Thus, this kind of put the need for supply drops in the eyes of players who wanted that for those camos. Now, while it's of course nice that supply drops might not be pushed as much right now within World War II, since launch we've only had a handful of challenge camos and Chrome, with enough times to definitely get more in between sprinkled throughout there. Included in that time frame, we've had an entire Winter Siege event, even with new DLC weapons and new collection items, like different emotes, like different customization items, yet we haven't seen new camos. We also had something in Black Ops 3 just recently, a game which is in its 3rd year of content now, giving a community-wide contract for completing games, which is a formula that can be easily implemented into World War II for a camo, but Black Ops 3 gave a couple of supply drops and then ranged and melee weapon bribes for completing it. So with that said, we've had stuff being promoted throughout Call of Duty, but where are these camos? Well, the good news is if you guys are interested in DLC camos, I can almost guarantee you that there will be them throughout the year. We haven't seen a limited quantity of camos for years, dating all the way back to the original games or the golden era of COD, as a lot of people may consider them. And the last time that we saw a game without downloadable camos was Modern Warfare 3, which I guess still technically there was the winter camo, which was only available for the COD Elite founding members. So technically a DLC camo, which then pushes that back even further to Black Ops in 2010 and 2011. But my guess would be that it comes down to 3 different ideas in which they could be thrown in here throughout. Maybe 1, maybe 2, maybe all 3, or maybe none of them. But that said, my theory for these three would be in other seasonal events, Twitch Prime, and then supply drop updates as well throughout the game. So the first thing, let's cover it because we're still already in a seasonal update. The one we're in now is Winter Siege, and these give specific collection for events. Going forward, I can almost guarantee it's going to be almost identical to that of the Modern Warfare Mastered events because they were incredibly successful, but they give free content, say in maps for limited times. We already saw that with Winter Carrington, which does go back to being season pass holder DLC only after Winter Siege finishes tomorrow, but these could happen with other maps with slight modifications and free-to-play nature. That's what Modern Warfare Mastered did with multiple maps, and it was fantastic. But timing-wise, we could easily see another event around the same time frame as in what we saw with Modern Warfare Mastered. March as St. Patrick's Day could work very well. Summer could have its own month-long event, very similar to how World War II already has with Winter Siege, and how Modern Warfare Mastered did last year. And personally, I still think it'd be awesome to see a Halloween event as one sort of final coup de grace to cap off everything within World War II before going up to that theoretical Black Ops 4 launch time, and it just makes sense from a logistical standpoint. But when you take this into consideration, each of these events would have their own specific collections. That's where you can go into the Quartermaster now, look at the collections, and you have the ability to move over to a different tab, which is only Winter Siege events. That is something that I can almost guarantee you will have more DLC weapons and also maybe potentially these camos, which I would honestly like to see. I would have been totally cool with some sort of ice camo within World War II, especially if it's anything like Black Ops 3's ice camo. That looked so good, and unfortunately, I think that that is kind of a missed opportunity within World War II, but maybe going forward, we end up seeing more of those. Now, as for another potential location, I think that Twitch Prime would be a great location in which we can end up getting exclusive camo drops for players that have that. Now, for those guys that don't know what Twitch Prime is, it is Amazon and Twitch's partnership in which you can end up getting some cool loot if you end up linking your game's accounts for the specific loot that is being given out at a certain time. It's across a ton of different platforms, ton of different titles and publishers, so Call of Duty is not anything that is exclusive with this, but they are doing something with Call of Duty in which throughout the year there will be 6 of these loot drops, and one is actually finishing tomorrow for the Winter Siege event. So if you guys have not done that already, if you have Amazon Prime and Twitch, make sure you guys have those connected, and then you can end up going to twitch.amazon.com/Call of Duty to link your accounts to your COD or Activision account, to which for this one you'll end up getting a zombies camo called Bon Voyage, then you'll end up getting 2 Winter Siege drops, one being one standard regular drop and one being a winter bribe as well. So definitely worth it by simply just already, if you have an account for Amazon Prime and Twitch, just connecting them. So definitely check that out, but there will still be 5 more drops, and with the camo already being added in for zombies, who's to say that we couldn't have another camo coming throughout the year exclusively for Twitch Prime that is included in one of the next 5 drops. Now, as for the ETA on that, there's no real time frame just yet. Those haven't been announced, but one fun fact is that the zombies camo wasn't even one that was out of this leak, so there's potentially even more possibilities that we could have coming throughout this. So definitely keep an eye out for that, but that's probably one of my guesses in terms of where we'd end up seeing this at some point in time. Now, as for the final thing in which I think will definitely be the case where this will probably be the go-to, but we might see them elsewhere out of those last 2, are supply drop updates. We've already detailed that there's a dozen weapons within the game code that are hidden from public view or that are still in development and that will be coming throughout the year, that being the Gewehr 43, the Type 5, the Volkssturm Gewehr, the Beretta 38, the Sten, the Beretta 30, the M1919, the MG81, the Arisaka, the Winchester 94, the Enfield No. 2, the Walther P38, the Reichs Revolver, the Ice Pick, the Combat Knife, and the Trench Knife. All of those weapons are detailed to us now, and they've been there since the beta, but as we've seen in recent years, as well as with early on leaks, that's probably not the full extent of the weaponry that we'll be seeing throughout the next 10 months or so before content is stopped to make way for the theoretical Black Ops 4 in November. So while all of these have bits and pieces in the game code, deeper dives could probably now even show us more progress and maybe even new weapons within the game code that don't include stuff on this list. But as time progresses, we'll probably more than likely see some of these come out on a regular basis, with more probably even coming out as soon as DLC 1 at the end of the month. And a little bit of evidence is the preview images for the Resistance map pack. The soldier actually is holding the Volkssturm Gewehr, so each individual content drop within the updates to the Quartermaster will probably see an opportunity to get more content alongside that. We've already seen emotes, character items added in the Winter Siege update, but the collection pools will only increase further, and that's an absolute perfect time to add DLC camos to not take away from the grind for Chrome and such, but not also overdo doing it if this sort of 10 is the only amount in preliminary counts that we'll get for the time being of DLC camos. But that said, it also keeps the game fresh with new stuff added in. Time frame dependent though is really dependent on the production completion. Camos really aren't as in depth with weapon development, but they still have tells for their progress in the pipeline from conception to release. One of the big things that is able to be examined is the attachment of menu information that is connected to the camos. Anytime that you see a leaked camo gameplay, there's a large chance that data miners forcibly applied the camo to the weapon that it was showcased on, which would indicate that there is no menu information, because if there was, all you'd have to do is select it like normal, not forcibly apply it. So if a camo has menu information, it's usually just a step or two away from being sent to players and the general public, but if not, it still can have a way to go before it gets released. But all in all, once again, there are still a ton of things that really have never made its way to the surface, and even still to this day, a month and a half now after I initially made that report and video on the camos that were leaked, I haven't seen too many people talk about these camos in general, so not many people even know that they exist. So when will they be coming out? Well, again, I guess your guess is as good as mine, but I think that I could probably pinpoint it down to Twitch Prime, seasonal events, and supply drop updates coming throughout the year. Though I wouldn't necessarily expect all that many compared to previous years in which we end up getting like 10 camos per drop. That's something that I would expect at least 1, 2, maybe even 3 or 4 at a time to be dropped, and of course we could have community events thrown in there as well. But that said, love to get your thoughts and feedback here down there in the comment section down below. Would you guys like to see DLC camos coming to World War II? Do you think it takes away from the historical accuracy or whatever like that? Or do you guys really want to see them? Are you guys not pleased with the camos, with the challenges and everything, and you guys just want to see a little bit more of a customization aspect and a little bit more player choice? Love to get your thoughts and feedback though. No right or wrong answer, but that's been my thoughts. Love to hear yours. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, make sure you drop a like down below, and of course if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing for camos like this, other tips, tricks, news, information, leaks, all that good stuff. We got you covered here up on the channel. Once again, thank you guys all so much for 100,000 subscribers. That truly means everything to me, so cannot thank you guys enough. But thank you dudes all so much for the support recently. And if you guys want to follow me over on Twitter, that's the best place to get connected with me outside of YouTube, but practically live on Twitter. So if you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, link is down there in the description below. But all that said, now, I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Mine has been Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Take care and peace.